Now, Zelensky said that Russia fired a nuclear-capable ICBM on Ukraine. Now, Russia is silent, refusing to accept or to deny it. The European leaders are calling it a very dangerous move by Moscow. And interestingly, the United States of America is now playing down the Ukrainian president's claim and has said that this was not an intercontinental ballistic missile, but rather an experimental Russian missile. And our next story decodes as to how the Russia-Ukraine war is now continuously escalating, and the danger of a potential miscalculation is very real. Listen in.
A chilling escalation in the Ukraine war. Ukraine accused Russia of launching an ICBM. Kyiv said the non-nuclear missile targeted the central city of Dnipro. President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of turning Ukraine into a testing ground for advanced weaponry.
He is so afraid that he uses new missiles and he searches the world for other places to find weapons. In Iran, in North Korea. Today there was a new Russian missile. All the characteristics, speed, altitude of an intercontinental ballistic missile. An investigation is currently underway.
The alleged ICBM strike comes amid a broader missile barrage, representing a potential game-changing moment in modern warfare. Capable of striking targets thousands of kilometers away, these missiles symbolize the ultimate weapon of strategic deterrence. With the range exceeding 5,500 kilometers, ICBMs can theoretically reach virtually any global target, making them the most devastating long-range weapons in military arsenals. The US, Russia, China, France, India, UK and North Korea are the only countries known to have operational ICBMs. Russia and US have the biggest stockpile of these missiles that can carry nuclear warheads and hit any target on the planet. Modern ICBMs equipped with MIRV technology allow multiple targets located at different locations to be engaged with the same missile with several warheads. The Kremlin did not confirm it had deployed the weapon and asserts it is doing everything possible to avoid a nuclear conflict. The British government has issued a stark warning describing potential ICBM use against Ukraine as a conflict escalation of unprecedented magnitude.
They've stepped up attacks on civilian centres, killing children. They've deployed at least 10,000 North Korean troops to the battle. And there are unconfirmed but media reports today of Russia firing a new ballistic missile into Ukraine, which we know have been preparing for months.
Every now and then they are raising the issue of nuclear doctrine, nuclear retaliation, etc., etc. So they are playing a nuclear gamble. Whether they really mean it, it's very hard to foresee. We don't see in their heads. We only know that this is irresponsible.
This development arrived against a backdrop of Russia's rapidly evolving nuclear doctrine. Russia this week updated its nuclear strategy, allowing nuclear weapon deployment against non-nuclear states. The move was seemingly triggered by the US permitting Ukraine to use ATACMS missiles against Russian military targets. Within days of getting the green light, Ukraine fired a barrage of American and British missiles on Russian territory. Moscow has warned of severe reprisals. The war clearly is entering uncharted territory. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
And I earlier spoke with retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who is a military expert and the host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Listen to what he had to say.
from those short clips that we can see, it does have some of the characteristics similar to an ICBM, which is a missile that flies over its target and then at a certain altitude deploys additional submunitions in the case of actual warheads. According to many of the experts, this particular missile had up to 24 additional warheads, and we saw a lot of that would appear to be multiple warheads striking in the different areas. Some of these are even maneuverable. So what it does, it doesn't change anything because we've already known that Russia has these ICBMs. We know they have multiple warhead missiles. We have the same thing. But what it does show is that Putin is serious about when he says if the West escalates by allowing long-range weapons into his country, he said he would take, quote, appropriate countermeasures. And I think that, and we already know earlier this week, he officially lowered the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons. And by showing this nuclear-capable missile in a conventional role on the ground here, I think it is a very strong signal that he means what he says. And if these long-range strikes by the West continue into Russia, and especially if they hit something, it is not unthinkable that he could escalate and use those missiles to strike Western targets outside of Ukraine. And then, of course, you had a huge possibility of an escalation.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.